as we thought it was going to be. Other areas we thought maybe it surprised us a little bit, but generally I think we have a plan in action of how we're going to try and solve this. I thought if I'd drawn the whiteboard, it's a bit easier for everyone to see. So, okay. So, from the photographs I showed you last time, we have that brick wall construction is a solid brick construction. And then when it comes into the ground, it ranges in height from about 26 inches to 52 or so inches, depending on which part of the courthouse we're looking at. So, here's our front steps here. So the courthouse is there. Side steps here. And it comes from the back of the building here. And we've got the new annex here on the back. On this investigation under the foundation system in here, there's certain areas that are wood, certain areas that are concrete, certain areas are concrete beams, concrete floors, some on brick foundation systems. It's a big mismatch in there. But generally, you've got the hallways that go like this here, and then of course you've got the individual offices then in between. But there are certain beams, like I believe this one here is concrete. Concrete floors in here, in here, in here. Then the areas here actually have the wood floor system, which is why we're getting that motion across the wall. The wall itself, now I'm actually going to draw what they call a section, as if we cut, if you look at the wall foundation, the wall system does this. I'm going to make it almost like we're cutting the wall down sideways, opening it up so you can see what we're looking at. So we actually have a wall system like this, and it's 4 lines of brick in here. You have the ground out here like this. As the wall comes down, certain courthouses and certain older structures, sometimes they actually step out like this to a foundation system. Some of them use concrete, some of them use brick, some use a combination of slurry. What we found in here is we've actually excavated down over in this area in here, over here, in these corners. We actually made a couple of areas over here, but this area over here particularly, on this corner, we hit, there's a little bit more clay down there rather than the sandy loam soil that we have on the other corners, which we're expecting. There was an old sewer line that runs along here this way, and Paul can attest that it was the old one that was all clay pipe that we replaced then, and we've got a PVC line there. We think that this here had some contributing factor to why the wall is so bad and it's still supporting this area here. We can't say the exact, but we know there's a lot of contributing factors, as well as over time we know the history of the slope of the side of water towards the side here. And because the brick is not the greatest structurally, as soon as you have any penetration in this exterior wall envelope, the moisture can get in, it'll start to degrade. Which are one of the reasons why I think when they stuck with the whole building originally was because the brick was such poor quality. So in this location over here, we would normally see a stepping of the foundation like this. This actually isn't the case here. What they've done is they've just taken the same brick and just come straight down into the ground, like so. And from the photographs you saw last time, it was actually down this hole that we cut down here like this. So if you're sort of standing, I guess scale-wise, sort of standing down here like this, you can see that this part of the brick in this area here had really started to become one with the earth, and it's a real mess down there. So we've spoken with the geotechnical engineers for and WJE, who were a lot of the building envelope specialists that deal with moisture penetration. And the idea was sort of coming up with that I'll make sure we clean this up afterwards. So the theory of what we're looking at doing, and we were standing back over there again last Monday, looking at up along the parapet, the dental work up along here. And if you know or not, but most of that shaped dental work they have up around the top, fancy moulding, most of it is actually is metal. that was used back then, they're pioneering turn of the century, that it's been painted over, so that's why a lot of it is in pretty good shape, because it's not actually a plaster product at all. So, in this wall configuration, what we're looking at doing, if we're now looking, if we cut the hole, we're sitting down this hole here, you actually have the ground surface area here. This is really what you see at the bottom of the wall here. It's sort of a window in here, like this. So this is notionally where the foundation is sort of stopped. What we're looking at doing is, if this is sort of the real, sort of the more solid part of the wall that still is intact, there's a technology that has been worked on for the last couple of years, where we'll actually look at cutting out this foundation system here and coming in almost a dog tooth arrangement here, sort of 6-foot sections at a time, and actually coming in and actually pouring concrete in these areas here. So what we're actually doing, where the old wall foundation system that did this, what they're actually going to do is come under here and put in a new concrete footing. And what they'll do is they'll start probably around about here. It's pretty sand in this area here, and then work their way around as need be. I think that's about the extent of where we're looking at doing, and actually putting in this new footer system all the way around. They go around the building once. They usually start at the corners here, and then they'll come back in. They'll come in with the rebar in here like this, and then once they've gone around once, they'll come back in and then fill in the other zones like this. So they can do it in stages around the building and then come back around. And there's a specialty concrete company that will look at doing this. It's sort of, we're going to leave a little bit to him as he cuts around, seeing which of the software areas which he'll deal with first. So then by the end of it, we'll actually have a sound foundation system around most of that area through there. We'll need to put in the correct, make sure we've got the correct French drain system as well, so any new moisture coming here, we try to prevent as much moisture as we can coming into the edge of the property line there. That's sort of the theory that we're looking at with this report for 20.
Will it require some work on the second story floor where the district clerk's office was? Will they
Yes.
kind of park it there?
Yeah, there's some soft areas over here. In this corner right here, there's which is why they're looking at it with Arthas on, I think it was last Monday, probably then. I'm still concerned a little bit about this corner area here, where there's a crack that runs from the first floor to the second floor, and maybe partly they've had some torsional twisting on this area here that's causing the crack. I still think there's some leaking coming in from this gutter system on this corner, because that rain spout is right, the rainwater downspout is right by there. Makes it a little bit more problematic is the whole ceiling system there, it's got that spray foam all over it, so it tends to, a normal wood system you could see with the washes coming through the water penetration, makes it a little bit more difficult there. But
You know why that spray's in there?
I'm sorry?
You know why that's in there besides insulation?
No.
Bats.
Oh, okay.
They work. We had a bat infestation, and that's the only way we could remedy it.
It's a factor one, for sure. So that's the theory we're coming up with. We think it's going to happen. Those who've been over the site, we have a lot of issues going on with the windows around here. If you look at it in plan in real time, if you've got a wall like this with our window involved here, really this wall actually isn't as straight as it shows. So it really sort of bows out more in plan direction. And if you're looking at it from the side elevation from this side through here, here's the earth right here, you're coming up, it really sort of goes out like this as well. So we think that can be solved by taking these sections of windows out here, rebuilding parts of walls we need to go back in. We're actually going to take out one of the windows on one of the areas that isn't as bad as this corner over here, and sort of use it as a sample to take the window out and come back in and do the proprietary flashing we need to make it sure it's all sealed, and this is a test window. We'll water test it.
So we'll What you're talking about is the footing around there, the 6 foot, and they're taking that wall out, the floor in the upper office there. Will that constitute what it'll take to stabilize the courthouse?
I think so for the most part, yeah. That's generally the consensus opinion we've got. It's our office and 2 other engineers' offices looking at it. We think that we're sort of coming to that same consensus. There's other areas I know over in Kenya, I know that we had, I think so in this corner right here, we had that soft floor, that's where a lot of law books are stored right at one point in time. We had some softening over in this area here as well. As you said, Judge, over in this area over here, which is why that's obviously in the areas we have a lot of wooden floor systems, so we'll be coming in and look at treating that as well.
Are you gonna raise it up a little bit, or?
No, we'll probably end up, the part of the wall is settled on the one side, but I think it'll probably be too difficult to actually raise that corner up. But what we'll actually do is try and stabilize it where it's at, so it, don't move anymore.
By raising it up, it creates more problems.
Exactly. It's one thing if you have a single-story bungalow, and try to square things up a little bit, but this is quite a big structure to try and move.
What kind of time frame are we looking at?
From original conversations with the geotechs, we're probably looking at, he'll move on this quickly. From their telling me from previous experience that he can probably get this done in the foundation portion alone in probably 2 weeks. And then and something that is something you can't really sit on, you've really got to start and finish. And then obviously we'll come back in and fill the trenches as he's finished the work and it's set.
What about the wall, the windows and so forth?
Well, the current plan currently is obviously the foundation system set first, and then come back through and look at each individual elements and treat them as on an as-need basis. And some of the ones that are in fine shape, but other areas, these windows around here, I think for the most part, it's a given they have to be rebuilt and replaced. Some of the others we can probably still utilize.
So if the monies are available, are we looking at 3 months, 6 months before the courthouse would be usable for some function?
I'll have a better clue on that by next month. Because what we're looking at doing, the good thing is that the foundation system we're looking at using, we actually have quantifiable numbers that we'll actually be able to have on that as part of the report, which is, a big chunk of it. When we have that then, we're actually working on the report as we speak.
And I guess the other thought that I have is, when this is all complete, will you give us some idea as to what kind of function, in other words, like the upstairs area where the district court was, as to, what kind of function that could have as far as weight and so forth? We don't want to go back and do what we did before, obviously.
Right.
But what, weight-wise, what that could be used for?
Yes, certainly, and I got some ideas as well. I think that we're thinking of how the needs of the county and how it's expanding and the new locations are moving, so we can definitely have those ideas.
Any other questions? And so they would have to dig out those 6 foot for the concrete, correct?
I'm sorry, Paul?
When they pour the concrete sections, they got to dig that out,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah, what they'll do is they'll do it just bit by bit to start with. So they'll do it that way first, all the way around, and then they'll come back in, and then they'll come back in, and on the second run around, they'll come back in and fill in the ones in between, and they'll all be tied together with rebar all the way around.
So they'll dig them out a section at a time, starting
Yes.
at the corner?
Yes. I'm not sure if they'll start, depending on which corners, but they'll probably start at the corners and move their way around, and probably start at the worst corners first. And it's the chap we're looking at using to do this, he did one on the west side of Houston there that they'd already had someone try to go in and underpin the foundation to start with, and so he had a situation where he had the old foundation wall line was sort of like that. And they'd had settlement in certain areas, so people come in and they'd sort of done this with underpinning, and that didn't work. So you had to come in and do this system underneath all this again, and he had terrible soil. So the man has sort of learned, I've been told he's one of the, by trial and error has become sort of one of the best to deal with this type of circumstance. So,
And I know on the second floor where they got those offices, there's a wooden area of the floor. I know it's leaning, in some parts it's really leaning, on one side.
Quite a bit, yeah. I mean, over in this area over here particularly,
Right.
you can really feel it's like a sea view over across there.
So on that floor, do we have to also do some remodeling?
Well, what we'll do is we'll take that floor area up and have a look and see what's going
What's going
on.
on there?
And then we can make a determination on what needs to be done. It could be as simple as, for example, over in this area here where a lot of legal books were at one point, that was a lot of point loading in one area rather than distributed load, which a lot of libraries, the little libraries have problems with things like that. To make sure that, you know, that this program will certainly been some beam failure, some horizontal or voice failure at some point in time around those areas, which is why it's so hazardous to the floor. And again, it could have been compounded and they have had moisture coming in a windowsill immediately adjacent to it, and over time then it's maybe got rotted and stale in those areas.
Termites.
Who knows? So we can,
When will we get a cost on that?
on this, they're actually doing our report right now. They're waiting on looking at the dental work around the, you know, the top of the roof that we have. We've got like cobbling work up around here on the top section. They were looking at that to put that as part of the report. So I think they're actually speaking with the foundation gentleman right now and discussing that. So we've been back and forth over the last few weeks looking at it together, but I think we'll probably have that, we'll have that as part of the report probably in the next three weeks, I would say. What I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably come back one more time before we actually initiate the final report. So I'll have one more sort of show the town what's more information we have, but we're very close now to put the report together.
I had a question about the basement. I said, you're not going back on that basement side of the courthouse?
No, I think we're fine. It's actually interesting, because the soils over in this area here have a lot more clay in them, which may be a lot of contributing factors to this poor area back here, whereas it's pretty consistent on the pits on the other side. It's a pretty sandy loam all the way through.
And all of our sewer drainage lines are on it. Anything else?
So you'd probably be back in about a month, give us a report?
Yeah, I may be back in a couple of weeks if I've got more numbers, more accurate from that, but as soon as I have it, I'll try and get all the documents so
Okay.
we can photograph what's going on.
Thank you very much.
So I've messed up nice report.
We'll take care of that one.
Thanks, Lynn.
Thanks.
It's supposed to be raining today, you've messed up.
No, it wasn't raining today.
I know you're supposed to rain.
Some of them were saying it would, but it wasn't. Anyway, to let you know, we are at, the countywide average is right at 550, which 575 is where the state really strongly suggests counties do burn bans anyway, so we'll be there probably before the end of the week, and my recommendation is that we do a burn ban and allow the agricultural burn none in subdivisions until such time as we get enough rain to do so.
In the past, that was grandfather and fires was already burning.
And also, just if people want to burn this, if it starts raining someday, whenever it starts.
Yeah, if it's raining in
But they-
their area,
So people will know that they have still to call it in, so.
yeah, they need to call the office and let us know that they did have rain, because this summertime rains and it's usually spotted, you know, and if they did, then we don't have a problem with it. There is a Class C misdemeanor fine in here, or charge in here if they do burn the vehicle.
Now, what about somebody else on the alley? I've had calls.
They need to do the same thing. They're not exempt from it. They still need to call in.
I don't call in, but would they be authorized or be allowed to burn?
Yeah, land clearing for
Off-field sites?
yeah, well, I'm gonna say they'll be allowed. They'll be allowed if the conditions are right, and if they meet the
They have the right equipment.
They
meet
got-
all those-
Meaning
everything is-
it's not a windy day and.
Yeah, they're not
They
excluded.
pay for case facility.
Right.
Okay. Just call your office?
Yeah. And that's Monday through Friday, though, don't, Saturday and Sunday won't work.
Motion, Commissioner Wiley, Commissioner Morales, all in favor?